Hi everyone, I'm Janet and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is my first camera video and I'm nervous. So I kindly ask for your grace as I share with you 7 things I wish I knew when I started healing. So whether you're beginning or deep in the process, I hope these reminders help you feel seen, supported, and more at peace at where you are. Let's get started. Item number 1, healing will not be quick. When you're in pain, all you want is the pain to go away fast. You want relief, a break, a moment where it doesn't hurt so much. But healing from trauma and abuse doesn't work like that. There's no medicine, no magic fix, no overnight cure that makes it all disappear. Healing is an internal process, and it's not quick. It's deep, it's layered, and it takes time. There will be days where you feel like you're finally finding your balance again. And then there will be days where it all feels heavy, like you're starting from scratch. Sometimes it feels like taking 5 steps forward only to fall 4 steps back. I've had moments where I truly believed I'm good and I've got this. And then without warning, I'll be crying, I'll be emotional, I'll be triggered. It felt like starting over. And in those moments, I'd question everything. Why am I still struggling? But now I understand that's part of healing. Healing isn't a straight line. It's spiral. It's full of twists, pauses, detours, and relapses. You'll revisit old wounds with new strength. You'll break down and then rebuild, stronger, wiser, and softer. I've been on this healing path for quite some time now. I'm definitely not where I started, and I'm proud of that. But I'm also not fully healed, and that's okay. Because healing isn't a finish line. It's a lifelong commitment to yourself, to your peace, to your growth. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to be over it by now. What you need is patience, self-compassion, and the reminder that even on the hardest days, you're still healing. And that is something you should be proud of. Item number 2, you might miss your abuser. Trauma bonds are real. And here's something not a lot of people talk about. You might miss your abuser. Missing them doesn't mean you weren't abused. It doesn't mean you're weak or confused either. It means you were deeply attached. They wove their mistreatment into your life so tightly that it actually started to feel normal. The chaos felt familiar. The inconsistency felt like passion. Their fake love felt like the real thing. Their love bombs, the intense apologies, the grand gestures, the "you're everything to me" moments, those became part of your emotional routine. To you, it felt like love. To them, it was about control. When I finally started to stand up for myself, my abuser left. As much as I knew it was the right thing, I was sad. I missed him. I missed us. And I hate to admit it, but I even considered apologizing for my actions, or I should say, my reactions to his abuse, just to get him back. That's the power of trauma bonding. It convinces you that pain was love. It clouds your clarity. It makes you question your reality and your own judgment. But deep down, I knew the truth. If I truly wanted to heal, if I truly wanted the love, safety, and respect I deserve, I had to be strong enough to let go. And it wasn't easy. It still isn't some days. Healing from trauma bond doesn't mean you never miss them. It means you remember why you walked away, even when it hurts. And every time you choose yourself, you're one step closer to the life and love that you deserve. Item number 3, your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. Triggers, anxiety, chronic tension, they don't just live in your head, they show up in your body. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. And when you've lived through trauma or abuse, your nervous system becomes highly attuned to danger, even when you're no longer in it. Listening to your body is the key to healing. When you're under stress, your body responds, even if your mind is saying, "You're fine, just keep going." I remember every time my abuser walked through the door, my body would freeze. My muscles would tense, my breath would shorten. It felt like my nervous system was stuck in overdrive, always preparing for a threat even when one never came. And the confusing part, when he was loving, I would convince myself that things were getting better. I'd forget the pain and move forward, but my body wouldn't forget. I lie awake at night restless and my sleep disrupted. That was my body saying, "You're not safe," even when my mind was trying to pretend I was. This is the essence of trauma physiology, something known as somatic memory. When your brain can't process emotional pain, your body holds on to it through tension, illness, fatigue, and panic attacks that seem to come out of nowhere. But here's the good news. If your body can hold on to trauma, it can also hold on to healing. And learning to listen to your body is the first step towards safety and recovery. That's how you start to build a new relationship with your body, one built on trust instead of fear. So next time your body tenses up, your heart races, or your stomach drops, don't ignore it. Don't shame it. Ask it, what are you trying to tell me? Because healing isn't just a mindset, it's a full body journey. And you deserve to feel safe, not just in your own life, but also in your own skin. Item number 4, setting boundaries will feel wrong at first. If you were in a relationship with an abuser, chances are boundaries were either ignored or never allowed in the first place. Abusers thrive in spaces where boundaries don't exist. That's how they control, manipulate, and wear you down. When I began my healing journey and finally gathered the strength to set boundaries, it felt wrong. It felt unnatural. It felt like I was doing something bad. My abuser didn't understand why suddenly I had rules. He made me feel guilty for having needs, like I was selfish or dramatic for asking for basic respect. And I'll be honest, enforcing those boundaries was hard. I was afraid. I was afraid of rejection, abandonment, or even being punished emotionally or even physically. There were moments I wanted to give in, to go back to the familiar just to keep the peace. But I didn't. Because here's what I learned. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's how you start loving yourself again. It's how you say, I matter too. It's how to protect your energy, your peace, and your worth. It's also a key part of rebuilding identity after trauma. When someone has repeatedly crossed your lines, you forget where those lines are. Boundaries help you remember who you are. Yes, at first it will feel uncomfortable. Why? Because your nervous system has been trained to associate boundaries with danger, conflict, or abandonment. But that discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something different. And healing always starts with something different. When I set boundaries with my abuser, it's like me telling him, no more. You don't get to decide how I'm treated anymore. And even if he didn't respect them, I did. And that was the beginning of reclaiming myself. So if you're struggling to set boundaries right now, let me say this. It's okay if it feels hard. It's okay if it feels scary. Do it anyway. Your peace, your healing, and your future self is all worth it. Item number 5, you'll outgrow relationships that once felt safe. As you heal, some people simply won't come with you. When I began my healing journey, it was like a fog slowly lifted. I started seeing people more clearly, not as who I wanted them to be, but who they truly were. The blinders came off. I realized that some of the people that I thought were supportive were actually enabling my pain. And some of the people I leaned on, they were only safe because I didn't yet know what safety truly meant. Healing changes you. Your standards shift. Your tolerance for toxic behavior shrinks. And the connections that once felt familiar, maybe even comforting, start to feel out of alignment. That's not you being cold. That's growth. Even the connection I once had with my abuser, yes, that bond, started to fade. It was painful because we shared experiences, memories, and even laughter. But I realized that trauma had created a false sense of closeness. What we shared wasn't love, it was survival. As you grow, some people won't understand the new version of you. They'll question your boundaries. They'll downplay your healing. They may even make you feel guilty for changing. And that might drive you away from them, not because you're bitter, but because you're protecting your peace. I still miss some of those relationships. They were people I cared deeply about. At that time, I truly believed they had my best interests at heart. But healing taught me how to recognize red flags. It taught me to stop confusing loyalty with love or history with health. Outgrowing people isn't easy, but it is necessary. You're not being heartless. You're being honest about what you need to stay healthy. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do for yourself is to let go of what no longer fits the person you're becoming. You're creating room for something better, for relationships built on respect, safety, and real connections. That's not a loss. That's transformation. Item number 6, rest is part of healing. Your body is repairing a lifetime of stress. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause, breathe, reflect, and rest. I know it might feel lazy, it may look unproductive to others, but in reality, rest is a critical part of healing. It's not a weakness, it's not avoidance. It's a powerful act of self-preservation and nervous system regulation. For so long, I was constantly busy. I was overstimulated, overwhelmed, and overworked. There was always something on my mind, something to do, something to fix. I didn't give myself time to feel, to grieve, to even breathe. Taking a nap, sitting still, that didn't exist in my world. It felt foreign. It felt even unsafe. But what I didn't realize was that staying busy was my way of numbing the situation, numbing what I was going through. It was how I avoided my pain. And it wasn't until I slowed down, until I allowed myself to truly rest, that everything started to shift. Rest created space. Space for emotions I had buried down, space to grieve what I'd lost and acknowledge what I'd survived, space to reconnect with my inner voice, the one that I had silenced just to get through each day. When we rest, especially after trauma, we allow our parasympathetic nervous system, the part of us responsible for calming and restoring, to do its job. It's in stillness that our brain can begin to integrate what we've been through. It's in rest that our body remembers how to feel safe again. So if you're tired, if you feel the need to slow down, listen to that. Honor it. You're not falling behind. You're giving yourself what you never had the chance before, which is a moment to just be. Healing isn't all actions and breakthroughs. Sometimes it's soft, it's quiet, it's laying on the couch with no guilt. It's taking a deep breath and saying, I deserve this rest, because you do, and your healing depends on it. Item number 7, you're allowed to feel joy even when you're still healing. You don't have to be fully healed to smile, to laugh, or to feel peace. Joy is not a reward you earn when the pain is finally gone. It's part of the medicine that helps you heal. When you've been through trauma, joy can feel distant, even unsafe. You may be grieving lost relationships. You may be anxious about the uncertainty of your future. And in all that heaviness, it might feel wrong to even let a little light in. I remember being in that place. I was carrying so much sadness that even the simple, beautiful moments with my children felt hard to fully embrace. I'd catch myself smiling and then immediately feel guilty. How can I enjoy this when I'm broken? But the truth is, I wasn't broken. I was healing, and joy helped me do that. From a psychological perspective, trauma narrows our focus. It puts the brain into survival mode where everything is a threat, and joy feels foreign or even foolish. But allowing yourself to feel joy, even in the small doses, rebuilds connection to safety, to meaning, and to life itself. It activates the parts of the brain responsible for hope, motivation, and connection. In other words, joy is a form of the nervous system regulation. It tells the body, you're safe now. You can soften. You can live. So whether it's a moment of laughter with your kids, a peaceful walk outside, or feeling the sun on your face, let yourself have it. You're not betraying your healing by being happy. You're supporting it. Joy doesn't erase the pain. It lives beside it. It reminds you that even though you've suffered, you're still capable of feeling alive. So if joy knocks on your door today, even for a second, open it. You don't need permission. You already deserve it. These are the 7 things I wish I knew when I started my healing journey, and I hope they help you along the way. And remember, you are enough, you're healing, and you're not alone. Be gentle with yourself. Till next time, please take care. Bye.